Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Making a corner hearth, and I'm measuring it in 14 centimeters, and then I'm just marking it from the 14 centimeter mark in by 2 and from the end in by 2, and dividing that particular section there in half, which gives me 7, and I'm going up by 4.5 centimeters, and I'm just going to cut that little strip out. I'm using an old soft drink can bottle, which is quite nice and thin. I've got my little piece cut out, and now I'm just going to paint it black. Before I paint it, I'm going to be taking my ruler and I'm just going to be scoring along my 3 lines, so I know when it's time to fold it where my lines are. I've painted my cardboard black. My cardboard is all dry, and now I'm going to be painting a bit of a hue inside there that looks like flames, and I'm using Scarlet Lake and medium yellow to do that. To start off with, I'm going to be using a bit of the red, and I'm not doing any specific pattern because I just want it to be a bit of a hue, and I don't want my hue to go too far, so I'm just marking where I'd like it to go. So I'm just holding my paintbrush like that and just doing like squiggles. And now I'm just mixing some of the red and yellow together to give me a bit of an orange. So I want 3 different shades of orange, so that's about the darkest one that I'm going for. And then I'm just going to take a smaller brush I know it's not very visible. And now we're going to lighten the orange a bit more. So I'm just adding a wee bit more yellow to it. And this time I'm using my thicker brush, so I can just get a little bit lighter in certain places. And now we're going to go even lighter by adding more yellow to it. Lighter again. And now on some of the tops, I'm just doing a little bit of a squiggle so that they're a bit pointy at the top to make them look like the flames are dancing. And now I'm going to go with pure yellow. And now I'm taking pure titanium white. Go very sparingly with this because you only want to highlight in a few little places just so that it looks a little bit different, so that it looks like you've got a flame going. I've just used my glue gun to make some little flames, and I've just painted them exactly the same way that I painted this one. I'm cutting out some triangles now. I'm cutting 4 triangles, and they're all different sizes. So my biggest triangle is 6.5 centimeters. I'm using the black cardboard from the box, so I don't need to paint that one. So I can just score the bricks into that particular one. And the top that I'm going to be using is 6 centimeters, and then it goes down by 5.9 to 5.8. So I'm just going to cut the 6 centimeter one out. I've got a right angle triangle square like that, and I'm just going to trace around that. I'm using hot glue just to glue my little pieces together. Then I'm going to take a piece of masking tape and cover the front piece on a slightly thicker piece of cardboard. So this one's got 2 ridges on it, whereas these ones are really, really thin. I'm going to be cutting another little triangle out, and the depth of this triangle is 3.5 centimeters and the width is 6 centimeters. So this one is going to be going on the inside. So I'm going to cut that out and paint that black as well. Before I paint it black, I'm going to be taking some masking tape and just closing that off so you don't see that, the see-through or the cardboard. So I want to make it nice and smooth, like that. I'm going to be painting my little hearth, but I'm just painting these small sections here. Now, because it's got like a really shiny surface on it, it's preferable that you actually sand it down so that the new paint will stick to it. So I'm just using a 3000 grit sandpaper and sanding just these 2 little front pieces so that I can paint them white. I've got a few little things that I'm going to be using for embellishments on my fireplace or hearth. So I've got these little gold pegs which were used to hold Christmas cards, and I've just pulled the center part out of it. So I'm going to be using those, and I've cut the top part off. So I'm left with this tiny little piece. And I've got some findings which I'm going to be painting gold. So I'm just using a rich gold paint, and I've painted them to look like that. And then I've got some of these matchsticks which you get from the craft store, which don't have any heads on them, so they're perfect for my project. I'm going to paint the little matchsticks white. I've cut a 1 centimeter strip by 6 centimeters, and all I'm doing now is I'm putting my right angle triangle on there, and I'm gluing my little matchsticks around that little piece. So I've extended that past that side so that I can glue it onto the front of this one. I picked up a stick in my garden which I'm going to be cutting into pieces which are 2.5 centimeters long, and I'm just going to put a little bit of paint on them so that when I put them inside my little fireplace, they'll be standing just right here in front. And then I'll conceal them by putting my little flames behind them like that. I've glued all my sticks into the shape that I want them. I've glued all my sticks around my little fireplace, and now I'm going to paint everything white. I'm using T8000 glue to glue all my little pieces onto my little fireplace that I've just painted white. I've poked some holes into the bottom so that I can thread my lights through that, and I've done it on the bottom piece as well, and in the bottom of my box. I'm using these tiny little string fairy lights to power up my little house with my fireplace. So I'm just going to be inserting them into the back, into the holes that I've drilled. And I've also glued my little flames in as well. And there's my little hearth completed. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.